Good afternoon. This is JC, and I'm here in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm bringing you about 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes of a video that's 13 minutes long from the Midas Touch. And I urge you to listen to everything that I record here because of the fact that these are the things that are happening in the red states and probably some blue states because of Trump's freezes on certain funding. And here in Missouri, my wife works at a medical center, and she takes patients as an intake, scheduling medical tests that are needed. And a woman from the FDA called up to schedule a medical test, and she was highly upset because all of the probationary workers, those are the workers that were recently hired that were new, that were going to become permanent workers at the FDA, just disappeared overnight due to the Trump funding cuts. They were all fired. And the woman's also 62, and she's just waiting for her notice to come through and that she's also fired because of her age. So there you go. It's happening right here in St. Louis, Missouri, and Missouri's a red state. And it's also happening in Alabama and Georgia and other red states. So let's listen to a little bit of this. And please, I urge you to listen to the whole thing because you got to see the story of what's happening in people's lives. Poor people in Alabama are losing grants from a charitable organization that paid $100 for their electric bill, and now they're taking those away, and they have to pay their electric bills out of pocket. So listen.
You effed around, and now you're finding out all these people in red states that some way or other depended on federal aid are realizing that when they said defund everything, they really meant defund themselves. I mean, take a look at this letter that's being sent by an electric company in Huntsville, Alabama. This is from the Huntsville Utilities Company, and here are what their customers are receiving notices like this. This letter informs you that your above referenced utility account has been debited for $100. Community Action Agency of Huntsville, Madison, and Limestone counties has notified us that the grant you received for $100 on January 30th, 2025 is no longer valid due to Donald Trump's executive order to rescind the funding behind the grant. The grant you received for $100 has been debited to your account and will be due with your next invoice. I guess the prices are going up, up, up. And of course, you know, Alabama overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump. The policies by former President Biden would have helped them out. How about the letter that they're getting in Georgia, where the Trump administration is cutting off certain amounts of FEMA aid? This was what the Trump administration sent to Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia, Republican governor. And of course, Georgia voted for Trump, and now they're not getting their FEMA aid here that they requested, their supplemental aid. Dear Governor Kemp, this is in response to your January 24th, 2025 request for an extension. Can we pause there just for a second? Notice that the request was made on January 24th, 2025, and the letter was sent like yesterday. So it took them like weeks to even respond to a fairly urgent emergency request for FEMA aid, only to deny it. So it says this is in response to your January 24th, 2025 request. I guess pause one more time. You know, former President Biden would have approved that in 24 hours. Probably within 2 hours, Biden would have had someone from FEMA on the phone giving Brian Kemp what he wanted, even though Kemp's a Republican. All right, sorry for digressing a few times. This is a response to your January 24th, 2025 request for an extension to the cost share waiver under the major disaster FEMA-4830-DR that was declared on September 30th, 2024 due to Hurricane Helene. You specifically requested an extension of the 100% federal cost share for the debris removal and emergency protective measures, including direct federal assistance to 180 days, and you reiterated your request for an increase in the federal cost share for permanent work to 90%. Based on our review of all the information available, it has been determined that the increased level of funding you have requested for major disaster FEMA-4830-DR is not warranted. Therefore, I must inform you that your request for an extension of the period of 100% federal funding for debris removal and emergency protective measures, including direct federal assistance to 180 days, is denied. I mean, really, they're denying debris removal in Georgia after a freaking hurricane. And by the way, this is what the people are voting for. Not everybody, but they're voting to literally stop the government from helping clean up the debris that's caused by a hurricane. And yeah, of course, a lot of workers voted for Donald Trump, and we were warning them, the leopards are going to eat your face. Ford's CEO is talking about how Donald Trump's tariffs or threatened tariffs and just the chaos that's being caused is likely to cause mass layoffs within Ford and other auto manufacturers. Ford, for example, has a $35 billion exposure based on the potential tariffs between finished vehicles and parts that move from Mexico and Canada into the United States. They're researching what they can do, but the fact that Trump keeps threatening and then changing his mind and threatening and then imposing it, you never know what he's going to do. That uncertainty is causing a situation where Ford doesn't know how it can handle its assembly lines and where it should be building. And ultimately that likely means mass layoffs. What we're hearing as well now with all of these headlines is a recession now seems like a possibility. As we're seeing in the UK's Telegraph, the world is underestimating the risk of a US recession. Protectionism threatens to fuel inflation, push up interest rates, and end the bull run in equity markets. This is from Inc. How Trump could cause a recession, Trump's tantrums. It's killing jobs, raising prices, and stifling investments. It's not a good environment for innovation. Yeah.
There you go. Stop there because we're getting a little long. But I hope you listened to it, at least through this far. As you can see, there's numerous examples there of what's happening and also predictions that we're going to go into a recession because of it. So I want you to take it, realize that this is just a trickle of water over the dam. The dam is going to break, and when it does, the United States economy is going to be destroyed. This is JC, St. Louis's oldest living hippie, saying, "Pox some more, Jack. Keep on trucking."